Так, зараз чекаємо на aSung. Подивися, aSung додається. aSung, are you here? Sorry, I guess. Okay, I see. Hey.
There you go.
Okay, perfect. Now we have all of you.
Good afternoon, man.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are.
Yeah, you actually have stolen my intro speech.
I see. Are we live yet, or?
No, we are not live yet. I think we are going live in a couple seconds.
Got it.
Kirill. Good afternoon, or good evening, or good morning, whoever, wherever you are. I welcome you in our podcast because today we have an important guest and important subject to discuss. Welcome to all of the people from all over the world, and let's start. Hi, aSung. Hi, Andrew.
Hey, how are you?
Very
Hey.
good.
How's everybody?
How are you doing, guys?
So,
Great.
this is going to be a little confusing because my name is also Andrew, so we have
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay.
two heads. Yeah.
You can call
yeah.
me.
We'll have a bank Andrew and an aSung.
no,
Croc.
it's fine. It's fine. But it'll be a fun session.
Okay, guys. Either way, welcome on this podcast, and I'm very excited, to be honest, because I think this is a first of its kind, one of the first of its kind, obviously, when we have open cameras and we are on YouTube and broadcasting things to the Twitter. So it's not really the regular Twitter AMA or Twitter Space.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally agree.
Okay, so we have a lot of very interesting questions to discuss, but the first question, and maybe like the first intro I would give, that we are in a very interesting market now, which I would say is like, it's not a bear market anymore because people get a little bit excited about the crypto, they get excited about what's going on, but it's not a bull market. So it's not like, you have people and buying NFTs and crypto and tokens back and forth. So I think that this stage is very unique and very interesting. And I think this stage, it will actually be the mark which will divide hype and scams and fraud, like finally divide, right? Because after FTX, after this and that, finally from the builders. And I believe that something that comes next is actually the era, between from now to the top point of the bull market, is the era of build products and of people who actually worked hard during the bear market, didn't lose hope, created new products, created new businesses in Web3, in Web2, connecting these things. I do really believe that this is the starting of this era. And as Crocs and Bank and aSung as a Croc here, I think these projects have a lot of in common in terms of building. So Andrew, can you tell us a little bit more about how, what do you in Bank project? What do you build in Bank projects? What kind of utilities? I would say because I know you have a lot of exciting stuff from the Web2. What are these things that you have in plans for the bank in near future?
Yeah, no, and hey, appreciate you guys having us on as well. So Crocs is one of the best builders in the space, and what you're putting together is awesome. So for us, we're a younger project, and started May 26th, started during the meme season, started token first. And I think a lot of people associated us with a meme coin, both positively and negatively. And for us, we had, different aspirations in terms of from a long-term perspective, and those include high utility and being around for the next bull, the next bear, the next bull after that. Like, we want to be a long-term project. I myself personally, I started at the company that I now run 20 years ago. I'm one of those old school, like you stick with what you're doing forever, right? Like you don't transition every 2 years. In terms of what we're building, so one of the first things we did after we launched the token and had that sort of success, that massive pump, right? We acquired a project called Cardopoly that had a working game. And they had a working game, but from a marketing perspective, they didn't have everything in place, right? So a lot of people didn't even know they had a working game. So we purchased that, and we are making improvements to that game. One of the things that we can do is market. And so we'll be able to bring players and holders to bear. But we want to bring projects together. And from my first phase to today, I've seen a lot of projects working together that maybe weren't doing that 6 months ago. And that's been exciting for me to see. But in terms of the background game, we've got max utility net that we've put out. We are leveraging some of the builders in the space, right? Like, we have a vertical dedicated to Levy. Ape Society is one of the best builders in the space. We have a vertical dedicated to Goofy Gophers and their mining project. We purchased 7 miners. We have a vertical that is based on Platypus Cyberpunks. We're going to be buying real estate with them, so outside of the box, right? And then we have a DeFi vertical. What you will see coming for us is where we really bridge personally, because I don't want to just be somebody that leverages partners and other groups in the space. I want to create myself, right? So bourbon for us is something that, at least being in insurance, you got a lot of people that drink. We know that. We know that well. So you'll be seeing a banker.
You already named so many stuff like that I personally wasn't too much aware. I mean, like, the game, the real estate, and then now we get to the bourbon. Yeah, I think a lot of people would associate like bank with like a meme coin, maybe like meme/utility coin, but that's a lot of stuff.
Yeah. So we took all of our mint funds and poured them into those 4 verticals, right? So the idea for us is, hey, I know Levy will work as long as you have somebody that's kind of like looking at it, and like you don't get crazy in terms of chasing your TVL or chasing like the value to the floor price, right? You're not going to get stuck on a lot of defaults. And so in the first 2 months, 60,000 ADA vertical, we've made 7,500 in interest. And we've had some defaults, right? I even had Croc defaults. But here's the beautiful thing about this space. If you understand our degen nature, right? Like, think about all these holders that are degens, right? What do you think got defaulted to me in a Croc? I got a top 2,000 ranked Croc that defaulted for like 600 ADA. So that's an immediate resale for double, triple on secondary, which is exactly what we did, because we want to use that ADA, right? We're making that ADA work. That's the mission. But yes, like in terms of our project, if you come in and you like think, oh, well, Tap Tools has bank as a meme, right? It probably needs to be updated, right? If you're a SNEC holder, right? Like the SNEC, a lot of SNEC holders are like, hey, you're trying to copy SNEC, that sort of thing. I absolutely do not want to copy SNEC. SNEC is the meme coin for Cardano. Like, we want that to be successful. We want that to kind of be the meme coin for Cardano. What we are is something completely different. And we're going to continue to do things like this, like bourbon, which is the next thing for us. That's just the first next thing. You're going to see a lot of Web 2-based things that we want to bridge back. We've made a US-based LLC that will be separate, that will be completely traditional. And the idea for us is to license back to the crypto side, which is in Costa Rica. Our company is in Costa Rica. You license back for the brand and the IP, which bank will hold. So that's our plans.
Well, I do feel that you have a lot of like Web 2, Web 3, connections here, and it is it is very close to me, and I do believe that connecting Web 2 and connecting Web 3, it definitely makes a lot of sense, because after all, it is all a business landscape, and there is a lot of things that Crocs do that have also like connection between Web 2 and Web 3, and aSung, can you maybe touch on some things that from the Crocs that have connection between Web 3 and Web 2, part of the
Sure.
businesses?
So, I mean, before that, we have to explore why, right? Why is this important? And a lot of people today, they live in Web 2, and that's been the norm for about, 20, 25 years since the internet took off, and that's fine. But we're noticing with this, Web 2 is getting crowded. There's too many apps, there's too many locations, there's too many things to do on the internet, which is the norm, but people are looking to break out of that. And with the rise of blockchain technology and cryptocurrencies in general, this is a very strong contender for that next step. It's just more efficient. There's some things that blockchain can do, which is inherently Web3, which is just straight up better than Web2. And so now you have to position yourself as a company or a brand or a product, whatever you want to call yourself, right? Do I want to build a Web3 product? Do I want to build a Web2 product? Or do I want to build something in between to kind of help transition from 2 to 3? Now, you could build a Web2 product, but again, that has all the risks I mentioned before. You can build a Web3 product, but there's no guarantee that Web3 will be here today, tomorrow, right? It might take some time to transition over from Web 2 to 3. And I guess, similar to what Bank is doing, our mindset is that Web 2.5 niche. We want to be there to bring
I think
people over from
I think the Web 2.5 it should be like the trademark, right? I think we actually I think you were the first one to call it Web 2.5, right?
Yeah, I called it that in I think January or February, just because we have 2 and 3, then 0.5 makes more sense, and I guess now that's the term we use. But
I think it was in the catalyst proposal whether you put a Web 2.5.
Yeah,
because that is all over internet, because when you put like small plants and stuff and you Google it, and there's a lot of people who copied the catalyst and made like articles and stuff and like use content. So I find it all over the internet like Web 2.5.
I mean, it's easier to say and it makes sense. People understand it, right? That's the thing about adoption. You need to use terms that people understand. You can't just throw some random tech or random crazy new thing at someone's face and say, here, use this, because they don't know what it is. And that also just goes with wallets, right? Wallets are hard to adopt because no one knows what they are, except unless you're in Web3. But going back to Crocs, so some things that we're exploring, we have a VPN service that's been live since the beginning of this year. You can pay in C4, you can pay in ADA or USD. With the integration of Cpay, which I'll touch on in a little bit, you can pay with anything you want. Even before that, we had a poker platform. Poker has been around for decades, if not centuries. It's not anything new, right? But integrating poker with the blockchain aspect, with the cryptocurrency aspect, that's something that's fairly new, and it's still being explored. But this goes back to what actually Crocs originally wanted to do. The original intention of Crocs was to create an arcade. So an arcade is just a bunch of games. Now, poker was the first game in the arcade, and we have many more coming out. And by the end of the year, we'll have many more coming out. Some other things that we've had come out since then. We have Cpay, which is our payment processor. This also fills the niche, right? From Web 2 to Web 3. The only thing we're missing right now, which we're working on, is fiat on-ramp, but everything else is there. You can convert crypto to crypto. You can convert token to token. It should be one of the first things that exist in the world where you can convert any token to a Cardano fungible token. It seems like Cardano's forgotten a lot, and we try to fix that. And what powers Cpay is our exchange called UX Finance. Right now, it's a simple swapping mechanism, but there are plans to add a lot more to this. Maybe in the future, depending on how things play out, this could even be a centralized exchange of some sort. But that's way, way down. We'll see if we can cross that bridge. And all in all, right now, the thing is to build a brand. We want to create products of similar nature where it's not limited to Web3, but it's also Web2. We want to bring people in and actually do what people try to say they're going to do, all this adoption, this onboarding, whatever. And
you've been saying about all these things. Actually, the same as like Andrew from the bank. You guys been talking about all like a lot of like different directions we're trying to adopt, and like here and there we're trying to do like this kind of business. We're trying to do this kind of utility. We're trying to make sure this like. How do you actually feel about like, because it's something we get asked often, right? Don't we get like, how would you answer to the question that like if you make so many different, if we make so many different products and we make so many different utilities, and we like, isn't it better just to concentrate like on one thing? Let's say, okay, we do only this game or only do this like how do you guys, I'm interested for actually answer from both parties. Like how do you see the answer to the question, why don't just do like one thing? Okay, like as you said, like, okay, Snack is meme coin. Again, it's not completely true, but and it's all right, only the meme coin. But let's just do the project which only does one thing and not a lot of different kind of utilities. Why in Web3, specifically in NFTs, we all the time we see like a lot of different utilities coming in? What is the main reason for that?
Yeah, so I'll give you from a bank perspective, and I'll also say, like, one of the reasons we're on this call, right, is what you guys are doing with Cpay and the finance as well, the exchange. Like, I started pestering aSung like a long time ago because we knew where we were going. I couldn't even articulate at that point where we were going, right? But it was like, I'm a holder of Crocs, and I know what we need when we talk about bridging, and you're going to provide that. But in terms of like the reason to have multiple things, I'll go back to my in real life job, insurance, right? We have a ton of agents across the country that are PNC focused agents. Your customer doesn't just need home and auto insurance. They need life insurance, they need health insurance, they need all financial services. If you're an agent that focuses on just one of those, you can be the best home and auto agent in the entire world. Someone else is writing all four of those other things for that customer that is sitting in your office. So when you think about that, bridge that over to blockchain, bridge that over to our space. If you go in any Discord and you look at engagement, they're playing rumbles, they're playing poker, they're playing some sort of game, right? They're not always the same game, but they're playing a game. So when you think about what you guys are doing, it's you're catching everybody. Some people like tower defense. I love tower defense. Some people like poker. Some people like your tank game, right? But those are all different genres, and it's a different type of customer that wants that. If you're Crocs, or if you're bank, or if you're any of the other projects, how much of the change do you want coming to your Discord and coming to your Twitter or X, or coming to your website to play your games? You want all of it. You don't want a small piece. And if you're only focused on one singular thing, you're only going to get that subset of customers that's interested in that thing. And you can be the best at that thing, and you'll get a large percentage share of that one thing. But for us, again, if we were just a meme coin, we're competing with all the other startup meme coins that are going to come during the bull, they're going to come next meme season. You're always going to be competing there, which means what are we doing every single day? What's Snack's doing right now? You go to Snack's Twitter, there's stuff popping off all the time. They've got to continually, constantly market themselves. If we want to be just purely utility, we better come up with the best freaking utility ever. It better pay out as quickly as possible, because the attention span in this space is napped. So if you're just going to focus on that, you better have some really good utility that pays out a lot. What we try to do is focus on, like, okay, where can I make the best, rewards for my holders? Whether that be NFTs, whether that be just holding my token, where is there a niche where I can go, I can do some good things there for the group. And we think we can do that in games, utility, and also in these products where brand matters. If you think about people that drink bourbon, they have behind them on their wall 40 different bottles of bourbon because they like the different, the different bottles or the different glasses. They don't actually drink a lot of it. They collect. It's like an NFT to them, or it's like whatever else. And so why not brand that? We have 12,000 followers on X. We have 12,000, I think around 12,000 holders. That is a tremendous subset of customers that if you can get them to look at outside of blockchain products, you've got a ready-made business already. And so if you don't look at that and you just focus on, well, why would we do anything over here, non-digital? We are missing a whole subset of customers. Because I promise you, when I went to Vegas, there's a whole lot of people that look like me, right? That are 40 to 50 years old that run companies. They're buying a lot of products outside of blockchain. And we should be tackling that. The issue has been fear of regulation, fear of doing something wrong. And I think we as a chain and other chains are figuring that out, right? There's ways to do it and do it correctly legally. And,
yeah, I feel like regulations are not going to be an issue very soon. Like in US, maybe I'm not too much aware of situation, but like in Europe, I like feel a whole new, I have a whole new feeling about the regulations. It feels like crypto is going to be like as usual as anything else. If you take like Switzerland, you can Portugal, you can Germany, you like Spain. Things are getting much more easier to do in crypto here over time. I think the same is going to happen in the US.
Agree. And so that's our philosophy. I think you'll see us do some other things. Again, I'll go back to partnerships. We have 25 partnerships. We don't want to do it alone. I do think that's a difference for us, and I've seen you all as well. I see how many spaces you do. It's not just about you winning. We want everybody to win. We're stronger if we've got, like, if we're the only ones here, or like Ape Society is the only one here, or Crocs is the only one here, or Space Buds, or whoever it is, like, that's not good because everybody else is losing. But if there's 25 of us, 50 of us that like do this together, we've got a vibrant, robust community of projects that are winning in the space. That's how we get people from other chains over here. It's not going to be like, oh, there's one successful, group over here. You're going to need to show that it's duplicatable, and suddenly you're going to get devs and you're going to get artists and you're going to get folks that go, you can do it on Cardano. You can do it well. And you'll get more adoption and more eyeballs on these projects.
I can agree with that for sure. If if everyone wins, everyone wins, because if it's like Cardano wins, everyone wins. If we win, Cardano wins. aSung, what's your take on that? Like we have discussed it with you because obviously there is a lot. I also have my own answer why we should in Web3 do a lot of different things, but this is a very common question, and there was a very good answer from Andrew. But aSung, what is your take on why not just do one poker, or why not just do one thing and don't do like multiple utilities, multiple projects, multiple products to the market?
Yeah, so it really depends on your business model, right? Different businesses operate different ways. And let me give an example. If I drive down a few streets, I know some businesses that only do window tinting. They only do windshields. They only do this and that. And that's fine. That's their business model. That's what works. That's what they're known for. That's great. But when you're going into the internet, especially, when you're looking for creating services, and Andrew kind of touched on this with his background, there are some things that can't be done by themselves. You need other things in order for it to work. And this is also apparent in my life outside of Web3. I'm a consultant in construction. So we do a lot of permitting. We do a lot of engineering work and just remediation. And a lot of it is environmental compliance. That's the general umbrella, which is why I'm also very familiar with the finance side of things, because the reading the law is not any different than what I do at work. But what I mean by that is we get clients from all over the city. So I live in New York City. And some people, they come to us and say, we need to move some dirt. Here, give me the permission and the permits to do this. Okay, that's fine. You're moving dirt, putting a new building. Other people say, I don't need any dirt. I need to get rid of water. Get me a connection into the sewer. Make it happen. Or some other people say, okay, we're doing some concrete work and we have to do some air monitoring. Get us out there to make it happen. So in this particular case, I mean, if you were an expert in one thing, you wouldn't be able to survive because the type of work that comes in is so different. You have to be multifaceted and also be able to produce and address different things. But specifically in Web3, what Crocs is doing, right? Again, the intention is to make an arcade. If you make one game, it's a pretty bad arcade. I mean, I don't know if I would go to an arcade with one game, right? But all in all, Cpay, UEX, the arcade idea, a few other things that are coming out which haven't been announced yet. This all goes back to onboarding, right? So the question that I always ask myself and others is, what exactly is onboarding? People just assume it's a magical word where you just say onboarding and then poof, like 20,000 people just go to your Discord.
Even the worst is like marketing. Like when's the marketing? When's the marketing?
When marketing? Like what kind of marketing? I mean, marketing is like such a broad term. Like, marketing can be researching the type of music you listen to in the background to make you hungrier at a fast food restaurant. Marketing can be the colors you see on the wall. I mean, advertising is, I think, the better term here, but like it's just such a general term that people understand. But all in all, onboarding, right? So here's my question. Let's say all the people are interested in crypto all of a sudden. They wake up tomorrow, they're all interested. What are you going to onboard them into? Like, what are they actually going to do here? Like, you go to the App Store to download applications. You get a calculator. You play a game. You do this. You do that. You download specific apps for what you're looking for at the time. But right now, if you're interested in crypto, the only thing you can really do is try to make money. And that's what you're going to do.
Speculate on the
yeah,
prices.
Or speculate. And that's if that's what you're going to do, that's fine. But most people who don't care for that, what's left? I mean, yeah, some games are out, and it's obviously the scene's getting better. Some music and entertainment stuff is out, it's getting better. NFT started out as art before it transitioned into this utility model again, and that's kind of going back and forth. But we create that ecosystem to onboard people into. So when you come into Crocs, you're coming into not just the NFT, but everything else is being built, all these other tools that you have available. So if you need at least one of those things, you'll be tied to the ecosystem. And this is similar to how other larger companies do it, like Apple. You have an Apple ecosystem, Amazon, Google. And the way this works is all these companies, yeah, they're much larger than any of these products here, but the fundamentals are the same.
Yeah, they haven't started being large. They started. I think some of these companies you mentioned started much smaller than Banker or Crocs.
Yeah,
that's true.
Started in somebody's basement.
Yeah, exactly.
Just a basement and an idea.
By the way, on last week, I also set up a home-based office in my basement just for fun. But if we have a Crocs, once we have a Crocs big, I can still say I had an office in my basement.
So now you're relatable.
Yeah, I need to have the same legend, but I think it's too late. But either way, I do agree with both of the answers, and my answer on the thing was more like when I came to the Cardano, before I came into blockchain, I was very anti diversification guy. So if I would invest, I would invest in one company. If I would buy stocks, I would buy stocks for one company and all money I have. Like, I was anti diversification guy because it's pretty much how I was taught in terms of investment. You don't invest in like 10 companies, you invest in one or two, but you just do a research and make sure that you have a very good investments. So these are like maybe not very popular but quite effective strategies in I would say on the stock market, right? But when we came into the Cardano and Cardano Crocs, I did feel like, okay, we just don't have tools here, right? We want to have a poker, but how do we process the payments? Unless we just buy super expensive license and stuff. Like, if we have like this, Croc store, how do we do? Like, we just didn't have all these tools, and this is leading us to actually the main, I would say not a reason, but a very important purpose of this call today. And there's something that we all, and the bank and the Crocs and I as well, are excited to discuss is the Cpay services, the payment processor, and how this utility, how this product can actually work in Crocs within its own ecosystem and with the bank itself. So, Andrew, can you elaborate a little bit on what kind of products you have in bank that Cpay can be integrated with, and a little bit just on how this bridging can help your business to grow and to connect with Web2 and Web3 through the Cpay.
Yeah, and so this started. You guys made an announcement about Cpay in your Discord, and I had, again, like I said, I'd already been pestering aSung about other stuff, and then I see it and I go, "No, that's it. That's the ticket. That's what we need right there." So for us, we're going to be selling products, non-digital products, bourbon, coffee, candy bars, all kinds of stuff, like merch, T-shirts, all that kind of stuff. All that stuff will come. But my customer base, my holders, what do they really want to pay? They want to pay in crypto, right? I mean, that's what they want to do. And so when I saw the announcement around Cpay, I went, man, this is it. Like, this is a way to cross-chain. This is a way to bridge into currencies. Eventually you'll have both sides, right? You'll have the on-ramp and the off-ramp, right? But I think about like Gophers. When we went to buy the miners, they wanted that in USDT or DJED, and I foolishly, I moved all of our ADA into my Coinbase, and then I did it there. And then I was like, why didn't I just use UX Finance? Why didn't I go that direction, kind of thing? But Cpay solves that for us, where I am talking to a distributor and a retailer who's very, very regulated, obviously in the alcohol industry. It's very, very regulated in the US, and I'm explaining to him how this can be a life-changing thing for his own business, right? He's an ETH guy. He's into crypto. But when I mentioned, you could sell this stuff and open it up to your crypto customers. Oh, we can never do that. We got to say cat. It's like, well, soon there's going to be something that converts that. You'd have to work like Stripe or, that's really cool. Soon you're going to have something that works like that. And so that's what I see as the future of Cpay, right? Is when we talk about, aSung mentioned 2.5, right? 2.5 is going to be around for a while. I think about 2.5 like I think about electric vehicles versus gas vehicles, right? People think okay, well, we can make electric vehicles now. Everybody's just going to adopt electric vehicles. 10 years from now, they'll still be saying that, because you're going to have holdouts. You're going to have people that are driving gas cars. You're still going to have Web 2.0. You're still going to have all that kind of stuff years from now. And do you want to wait and miss out during the transition, or do you want to be able to accommodate both during that transition period? And I think that's what Cpay is going to do. From a token standpoint, we'll talk about token for a second as well. We're going to be opening up our token holders to the Croc ecosystem, right? And so, again, that's where, from my perspective, this is a community building, project building. You're bringing different projects together because you're going to be able to use the services that you put together, where multiple projects and their token can come in and convert that behind the scenes and play the games that are in that arcade, and not have to go to an outside DEX, convert, come back, all that kind of stuff. No, you'll be able to do it and play, and it'll be seamless. I'll make one more shameless plug, and we're not even partnered with them. Why is Levy successful? Levy is successful because it's a super simple UI that's easy for somebody like me, that I'm probably the only person watching this that uses NAMI exclusively, because it's simple and it's easy for an old guy like me to figure out, right? Levy to me is so easy. And I think the things you're putting together make it simple. And the simpler something is and the least complex, when you're talking about transactions, the better off it is for the consumer. And so that's my take on it.
aSung, can you tell a little bit how the Cpay is already working with our products, and with how it's already working in a Croc project like Cpoker, and How is that looking?
Yeah, so Cpay, kind of Andrew touched on this, is simplicity, right? And this goes back to the whole thing of onboarding. In order to get people to use something, it has to be good, but also has to be easy. And with Cpay specifically, that was something that we tried to replicate. If you go to cpoker.pro, which is our poker platform, you can actually purchase tokens. So right now the tokens are pegged. One token or rather one C4 is equal to one poker chip. And as the price of C4 goes up and down, it's still going to be the same conversion. But if you don't have any C4, if you have something else, maybe you're coming from cross-chain, or maybe in the future you can just play it fiat directly, or maybe you have another token on Cardano, you can go to Cpay. It'll open up a page, and it'll tell you, or show you, what do you want to transact? How do you want to get poker chips? So on one hand, you send whatever you have. On the other hand, you receive the poker chips, and you can start playing right away as fast as the transaction clears. So the number one thing that we've actually focused on was the simplicity. And most of the people or users that have tried Poker, they really like it. They do agree it's very simple. We've been very happy about that response, actually, because that is the number one thing that would basically make or break any adoption. It can be the best poker site in the world, but if you can't play the game because you have chips, what does it matter? And something else you brought up earlier was the transition from ICE vehicles to electric cars, right? What I'm noticing more and more right now, gas prices a few months ago they went up and they came back down. They're going up again. Inflation is at an all-time high as of recently, and people are hurting. But a lot of people that I talk to and I see, you follow the news and kind of what's happening, they're not buying electric cars right now. Some of them are, but a lot of them are going hybrid.
Yep.
And hybrid is kind of what you alluded to, is Web 2.5. If the ICE vehicle is Web 2 and the electric car is Web
exactly what I had in mind when you started doing this comparison. It's a hybrid, right? I don't know how, by the way, in USA it looks, but like in Europe they really push the electric vehicles. Like they really push it hard. So government and stuff, they make, like, not make people, but they kind of do a lot of benefits, and they try to convince people to
there is a ton of that going on here right now. And I think one of your issues that people didn't think about with electric vehicles is the number of charging stations. So in certain states in the country, they're very plentiful, right? And we've got a couple sales executives that have the Teslas, right? And so we went to the beach for sales retreat. They drove those cars. Well, the issue was, in certain areas, there's only one charging station within 10, 15 miles. So guess what they had to do before they drove back home? Well, I've got to block out some time to go over here and sit. And that's where it's going to take some time, right, on that EV. You're that infrastructure. Like, think about that. Like, you're the charging stations here, guys. Like, and that's through your exchange. And then Cpay allows gas, electric, hybrid. Like, if you think about it in terms of a vehicle and that sort of thing, that's what you get. And so that part is exciting. But I do like equating you guys to 2.5 now. I think that's going to stick.
Well, Cpay, now we have a very easy explanation when we onboarding new holders. What is Cpay? It's a charging station for
the charging station.
Yeah, that's a great comparison. Okay, and that gets us to the point where we discuss how we are going to collaborate with the bank. And for all people who are listening now, and for all people who will be listening to this in pre-recording, because it's going to be available on YouTube, it's going to be still available in Twitter, in X, that it gets us to our conversation gets to the point where we want to discuss how the I'm kind of I have a very different, like, strange feeling, because I'm kind of a host here, but I'm also speaking from the perspective of Crocs, I guess. But now we can talk about how we are going to collaborate, how the Crocs are going to collaborate with bank in more, like, not just doing the Cpay. We do the Cpay for your products, like everything is all these details are very interesting. But we have decided, we have basically had a lot of calls with you, discussed about that we are going to create the pool between a C4 and bank, right? And this thing is, I believe it's very unique to the space, because if you look at pools that are available now, most of them are like all, let's say, like, C4 to ADA, like society to ADA, bank to ADA, like all these tokens, they go through ADA. And we are going to have, because the idea behind this is, why do we need to have to go to the ADA if we have like utilities and we have all these kind of collaborations, we have the Cpay and stuff? Why don't we have the pool in between like big tokens? And I'm very interested to, I guess we'll start from Andrew to hear how do you see this pool, and how it's gonna be changing the way we view token trading overall, if we start like setting up, like, again, we're talking about pool bank to C4, but if once this gets more popular and people create pools in between tokens, right? How is, like, what are the benefits you see to having these pools instead of having like ADA, let's say C4 ADA and bank ADA only?
Yeah. So, again, we'll go back to that word simplicity, right? So why would I want to do, all right, I'm going to take my bank, I'm going to sell it for ADA, then I'm going to turn around and take that ADA, I'm going to buy C4, right? Like, what I really want, C4, or vice versa. So why not go direct? And this pool sets that up, where it's an easy way to convert back and forth between the two projects. At the same time, you're creating this massive arcade system. That's what it's going to end up being when it's all done. And you're going to want a situation where, right now, hey, I'm really excited because bank holders, it's going to be really simple for bank holders to interact with the Croc ecosystem, right? Like, that's exciting. Think about that down the line. Think about that when it's 10, 15 projects and you've got 10 to 15 games. It's very simple for the player. The player is your customer. And something that's very important in games, and little known fact, one of the reasons Extra and I joined blockchain is we play a ton of iPhone games, right? Like, I mean, heavy users. We're spenders. Like, we want to win. We want my name at the top. The armor, the different trinkets you get in those games that have in-game transactions, they're basically NFTs. That's what they are. And the moment we figure that out in this ecosystem, the better off we're all going to be, because when you get a kick-ass game in this ecosystem and you have the words that I'm fixing to say, that's where we all make a ton of money. So when Crocs has a game that has replayability, you want a situation where your players are coming back again and again and again and again and again. I didn't win. I almost won, but I didn't win. I want to win next time. And if I buy this little trinket with C4 or bank or smokes or society or snack or whatever the token is, I got a little bit better chance of winning, right? But it's kind of random, so I can't buy my way to victory. You're printing crypto at that point. And but the first step, and one of the things that you all mentioned early on too, you got to onboard. You can't onboard complex. You got to onboard simple. This pool is a big part of that, right? Like, it removes an additional step that nobody wants to take. You're paying fees both ways. Why not? So you're
instantly
reducing some fee situation there, and you're making
For example, like if you speak about the fees on UX Finance, the next thing will have a possibility to swap between tokens, right? Any tokens, like, I don't know, Clay to Society, Clay to C4, Bank to Snack, Snack to Bank, and Snack to Meme to Bank, like all the tokens, right? And if you don't have a pool, let's say if you want to swap one token to another, we have to go to the ADA, so you pay for ADA for the pool fees, right? And then you swap from again, it happens automatically, but you still have to pay this money. And once you have these pools, you just pay less. Like, again, it's not that much money, but you just pay less fees, right?
Yep, that's perfect.
aSung, the question I would give it to you regarding this announcement, which we all can agree is huge because it's no one else is doing that. And do you think there is any for both sides, for bank holders and for C4 holders, we have seen the benefits, right? There is a like simplicity. You can switch from one ecosystem to another, and these are two big ecosystems. And it's to be fair, but do you see what would you answer to the people or to the question? Is there any, I would say, any downsides or any danger for any of those holders and or price effects? How do you see that going once we have this like new type of the pool?
Yeah, so that's a question we get a lot. It's what happens if there's two products that are essentially pulled together? What happens when something happens to one project? Does it affect the other project? Is there a domino effect? Is there contagion, I guess, or collateral damage, right? And the answer is no, not really. The reason being is, so right now you can go from, let's just talk specifically for this call. You can go from C4 to ADA, from ADA to bank, and vice versa, right? But all we're doing is adding a third leg to complete the triangle. So you can go from C4 to bank to ADA in any direction you want. Now, let's just say something happens to C4. The price goes down, right? Well, what happens? There's arbitrage opportunities on the bank side as well as the ADA side. So just through free market properties, it should equalize no matter what. If somebody, let's say as soon as the C4 bank pool opens up, I just dump all my C4, let's just say, because I want all the bank tokens. Then how's it any different from me dumping it to ADA and then buying bank token with it? Right?
Exactly.
It's just an intermediary. So all in all, the process is not going to change. If somebody wanted to dump or buy, they'll have multiple options. And the thing is that now there's also better arbitrage options, right? You can, if let's just say it's mispriced. Let's just say the C4 to bank pool is actually different and more profitable than the C4 to ADA pool, in which case you would buy some C4 to bank and then sell accordingly. And you can now make a little bit of money on the side. And this obviously is a much smaller scale today, but the idea is that this can be much bigger in the future. You see this happening a lot with other chains. A lot of other chains outside of Cardano, they have stablecoins, for example.
Yeah, but you actually see it happening in C4 because we have like three pools which are more or less equal, the SandySwap, and you know people sell and buy all the time. I think like we had just increased volume because of the arbitrage situation. So I can see it.
Yeah, no, I was actually going to get to that. We actually saw this in-house where, as Basil mentioned, we have 3 separate liquidity pools with 3 different dexes. And this was like a little experiment that we did ourselves. And all in all, when one goes down, the others go up and vice versa. It kind of equalizes each other. So there shouldn't be any difference in the big picture. But a lot of people in Cardano, they're not familiar with other chains. Other chains have like USDT or USDC or stable pairs themselves. And these are not native tokens. Like what I mean by that is if you're on ETH, everyone holds ETH, but they also hold USDT. They also hold USDC. They also hold whatever other protocols they want to hold. But for whatever reason on Cardano, everybody only holds ADA. Very few people go outside of just holding ADA. They trade, they buy, they sell, they do this, they that. But at the end of the day, they go back to ADA. And the question is why? Right? Why shouldn't we have the same things that our chains have? And the reason is, 1, the infrastructure isn't there. 2, the stable coins don't exist, at least the ones that are very popular. And 3, people just maybe don't know. I mean, maybe there's nothing reputable.
USDC4 just got very offended.
So, yeah, that's actually, so USDC4, for those of you who don't know, was one of the, I guess, pillars we tried to create to solve this issue. Cardano is lacking stablecoins, at least a good one, and there's a few good ones that might be out soon, like USDM is promising, or USDA, which has been postponed, and DJET is out there, but it's not really working as intended. And IUSD, of course, is out too. But before all these came out, we made like a simple, I don't want to call it a bridge, but that's the easiest way to explain it, between USDC on other chains to Cardano. And we can't call it USDC because it's not USDC, it's not owned by Circle. So we call it USDC4, which is a play on words between USDC and our token C4. And
I do believe the USDC4 will have its rise. because but it's very connected to the success of UX finance, and we were doing a lot of this direction, looking into like let's get into other chains, let's get into cross chain exchanges, this and that. But once we have these already announced these things, the swaps between tokens, I think since that's the moment when the USDC4 comes in place, right? Because you come to UX exchange, you want to swap two tokens, and then you want to probably get get your money into stable. At some point you do it, you can do that, right? So I think that will be the moment when USDC4 will actually get more popular.
Yeah, you can convert, you can cash out your USDC for USDC, just like how on Circle you can convert USDC to USD. It's obviously one step behind USD, but this way you can get in and out as you please. But
yeah, and actually another moment with USDC4 that I think it's gonna. Again, it was more planned. You correct me if you had something else in mind, but I do view the USDC4, and I also viewing it more like as a tool for us to benefit, and then for the world to use, right? So it was more like more planned to use into the ecosystem. And let's say we have like bonds, right? And we still have like another round of bonds coming, and USDC4 is a very good tool here because the functionality we want to add here in the bond is that you can convert the ADA bond to USDC4 bond anytime. And the reason why, because people get scared. Okay, I buy the ADA bond and my ADA gets locked. What if ADA goes 10x tomorrow? Like I'm going to lose on ADA value. No, you're not, because you have this USDC4 conversion in place.
But yeah, one other thing I did want to mention is on the bull market, the last bull market, I guess, right? I mean, some of these like new protocols, new exchanges that pop up, they would offer you like 38% APY just to hold a USDT to USDC stable pair. That's to incentivize use of the ecosystem or their particular protocol. Now, obviously, those times are behind us, and 38% is obviously not sustainable. But what I trying to say is I see similar parallels happening on Cardano during the next bull market. If everything is what we expect and everything takes off as we plan it to, there will be a lot of people and protocols creating these pairs and incentivizing high yields so people can actually use their protocols. And that's just part of how it's been, and maybe it's going to be how it's going to be in the future. But all in all, the ability to have multiple pools on Cardano that are not ADA based is going to be a large step into DeFi. Not only just games, not only just everything we're making, but the ability to have other tokens. It creates a much more stable ecosystem when there's other pairs that are much stronger.
Yeah, agree. It drives adoption too.
Guys, we are getting, I think I don't want to make it too long. So we discussed all interesting, like there's a lot of interesting questions to discuss about. Obviously, we discussed our collaboration, we discussed our plans. I'm excited for what's to come for the bank, for what's to come for the Crocs, obviously. And there's one more question I have in mind that I would like to discuss. And it's kind of a little bit a fun question, more, I would say, the question of the culture, right? How do you feel? Because there is a lot of talks. Okay, the bull market has started. I personally don't believe it's already a bull market started, but we definitely have some good vibes on the crypto prices and on the crypto volumes overall. But the bull market will come sooner or later, and it will be, I believe, very strong. But how do you guys feel? What is going to be? And because like every bull market, there is a thing like. Last bull markets, it was like NFTs, right? And what do you think is going to be? Again, it's kind of a speculative question. It's just to have a to finish our conversation on a fun note. What do you feel is going to be the next thing on a bull market for the cryptocurrency overall?
Yeah, I'll go first. I probably will have the shortest answer on this. I wasn't around for the last bull market. So I got to write it down. That's what I did. I came in right when Bitcoin was like at the top, and then I just wrote it straight down.
So you're the lucky one, right?
yeah. My first NFT was Sha Salamanders, which was a total rug. And you mentioned that you didn't diversify a lot. when you first got into crypto, right? I bought like 400 of those things, and then totally community. So whatever it is that's going to be the it thing, they better figure out community. Again, my experience in Vegas, I'm going to throw out inmates for a second. Like, you got 30 community members that show up in prison jumpsuits and they're running around. Like, that's exciting. That's energy, right? And so you have Snec that shows up with the energy drinks and they're running around with those and people are taking pictures. Like, the projects or the whatever's going on that can capture community in the digital space is going to do really, really well in the bull run. Like, you think about all the eyeballs that go to those YouTube influencers and X influencers, right, during the bull. Tremendous amount of power around those eyeballs and that visibility. But to get that, you got to gain that community, and that's what I would say will be big.
Yeah, I have a few thoughts about this one because I've been thinking about this for a while. So, Andrew, so just for context, like, there were, I think, 3 different cycles in the past, right? Ups and downs for the bull markets. The first one I think was in 2014, unless I'm mistaken, or 2012, I forget. And that one was
2014, I think. 2014.
Yeah, that was more or less the proof of concept. That's why it went up and down. I don't know of any other specific catalyst, but that's just from what I've gathered. That was what it is. 2017 was the ICOs. Every product in their mothers was doing ICOs, and that's kind of what caused the valuation to go up. 2020 and 2021, what we just had was a mixture of DeFi, and that money flew into NFTs. So those are the topics, I guess, or the themes that these prior cycles had. The next one that I see, there's a few different ways that I see this coming together. Maybe all of them happen, maybe none. The first one is privacy. So kind of like what Midnight is doing on Cardano, or rather what Charles is doing, there's going to be a push, in my opinion, where the larger players, the industry leaders, essentially, start adopting crypto in their day-to-day. Slowly but surely, things like CBDCs will be normalized. Blockchain technology will be more normal. And what they're going to do is complain about privacy. They're going to tell the average person who doesn't know about crypto or blockchain, hey, we're all using crypto now. We're using blockchain. Even though it's not true, that's what they're going to say. However, everything is public on blockchain. And then you're going to see some ad from Citibank or Chase. Then now imagine yourself walking to the supermarket and the guy next to you pulls up his phone and he can see everything you're buying, everything that you're purchasing and spending your money on. How would you feel introducing this product, which is essentially a privacy application? If blockchain is normalized, privacy will be a big topic. And naturally, when you see a commercial like that, people will get scared. Like, well, oh my God, I don't want the guy next to me. I don't want Fred to know I'm buying milk or 2 gallons of milk today. And then those things will be like the ways to push the public into particular privacy agendas. Something else that I noticed is kind of what I agree with Andrew, is the community building. There are going to be brands that are born from Web3 or 2.5 or whatever you call it, that survive into the next bull market and get even stronger. And this is made possible because building a community, building an ecosystem from this space is very different than traditional industry, traditional business, right? Your entire community they're your biggest fans. They're also your biggest critics. They're your consumers. They're your users. They're also your marketers. They're your advertisers. They're everything. So it's a group effort, essentially. Yeah, some founders start a project, but communities really push together. And there's certain brands out there, community or not, that already broke into successful, I guess, Web2 scenes. Example is Pudgy Penguins. They have the animated shorts. They have the plushies. And they really made big waves breaking into the market. Now, does everyone like it? No. But projects like that, if they can replicate that success in different ways, they'll definitely be around for the bull market. And because it's tied to cryptocurrency, blockchain, or NFTs, it'll have a relevance in the next cycle. So those are the 2 things that I see, either strong brands that exist today, or maybe will be coming out between now and the next bull market, or something like privacy, some sort of narrative that's easy to push onto people and make the users or average people like us make it seem like it's something that's needed, and it's easy to market. So that's kind of all it is, right? You have something that if it's something easy to sell, you'll just make a story around it and you sell it. And privacy, in my opinion, is one of those things that could take off for next bull market.
For reality, you don't have too much privacy in real life, but that is a good story. I like how you put it. That is a good story to sell. Well, my answer is very simple, and it has a catch. My answer is that there is as they say, my opinion, my view on this thing is the next thing in the bull market is going to be applications that are concentrated on a layer 2 of the blockchains. So the layer 1 is like, let's say, Ethereum, Bitcoin, Cardano, and the layer 2 are applications that like blockchains built on top of these blockchains. I believe the layer 2 is going to be applications, layer 2 type applications are going to be a thing on the next bull market. And speaking of which, there is a very interesting layer 2 news that will come out in Croc's Discord, maybe in half an hour or an hour. So I don't know if it's already 1 a.m. here, but those of you guys who are watching this, maybe during the day, or it's a day on your side, because we have people from worldwide, I strongly recommend you to check out our Discord maybe in 1 hour or something. We have a very, very interesting layer 2 news and something to share. And on this positive note, I think it's a good time to finish our call. Thank you, Andrew, and thank you, aSung. That was a pleasure to have this first episode with founders, to be talking with you. aSung, I do treat you as a co-founder of Crocs in a way that you are a spirit of the project, and you are really, I would say, like, you are from the founders team for sure. And Andrew, it was a pleasure to talk about the bank. And even for myself, there's a lot of things that I didn't know was the bank, and now I know them. So that's very good.
Thank you guys for having us.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.